everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with a very exciting video because I am building a special house worth exactly 250,000 simoleons to celebrate 250,000 subscribers here on YouTube. That is such a large number, it's really hard to comprehend. 250,000 of you are here, but thank you so very much. I had a few weeks ago asked on the community tab if you all had any questions you'd like me to answer, so during this speed build, during this voiceover, I'm going to be answering some questions, and yeah, I'm not really sure how to explain how thankful I am for y'all for being here, for commenting, for hanging out, for watching the videos, for all of your support, honestly. This channel has really changed my life. This is my full-time job, and it means a lot. So with that, the build is starting. This is going to be a 5-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms. It's definitely very modern, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but our first question is actually from one of my lovely Twitch moderators, Tori Borealis. And she says, do you listen to music or podcasts while you build, or what kind of stuff do you listen to while you work? And if you could pick one song to be recorded in Simlish, what would it be? So yes, I definitely listen to a lot of podcasts and watch a lot of videos and stuff while I work on builds. It'd be hard to name everything. What I was listening to while I was finishing editing this build right now is actually the Sweet and Sour podcast, which is Pokimane and Lily Pichu. So that's one. I also really like Wild Till 9. Basically, I only listen to podcasts on YouTube. I like having the video portion. But those are a couple of the podcasts I listen to. I also watch a lot of vlogs. Surprisingly, the YouTube recap that just came out for gaming, it showed that only 16% of my YouTube watching is gaming, because the majority of what I watch is vloggers. When it comes to what music I listen to while I work, I'm definitely more into metal, rock, new metal, like that sort of genre, but at the same time I do like some of the more popular pop songs right now, and I would say if I could pick any song to be recorded in Simlish, I'm not sure which specific one I would want, but probably something by Chapel Roan. And I know she said that she would love to do that, she's just too busy now, so I don't know, maybe someday. So at this point you can see part of the shape of this house coming together. I do change where I have these vertical beams and structure the house around how those are going to work, but right now I'm just trying to play around with the wallpapers. I for a very long time tried to use this stone texture, but I don't end up keeping that in the end. This was just my experimental process of figuring out how I wanted this to look. It had been such a long time since I did a build like this that was super modern, and since I hadn't in a while, I thought it would be a fun, refreshing one to do for a expensive build, especially because I feel like the easiest way to get a very expensive build is to do something that's like fancier and uses a lot of like the gold, traditional-ish, gaudy items from Get Famous, so I didn't really want to do that. So this was definitely more of a challenge, and you'll see that at the end of the build when I'm frantically trying to add more items to this house to try to make it more expensive, because I was very far off from the budget once I finished what I would have normally kept it as. So you'll see that a little bit later. The next question comes from Hopefully C, and they said, what is your favorite occult, and do you have any tips or tricks for newer builders for color combination or matching swatches? Honestly, I think my favorite occult is vampires, just because I feel like they're the one that I play as the most, that I've always had the most interest in. I'm not sure they're like the best anymore. They were the first ones with a skill tree, but they just have such a special place in my heart. And back when I used to do Let's Plays on this channel, that was my favorite Let's Play I ever did, was with vampires. And as far as tips and tricks for builders for color coordination and matching swatches, it's going to be a combination of practice and probably looking into color theory a little bit. I went to school for graphic design, so I have a background in color theory, but I would say a really helpful tool to get you started and playing around with how colors work together would probably be like a color palette generator. There's lots of free ones online, and I will put one in the description if you'd like to check that out. It could help you come up with a new way to use colors if you have to combine the colors that it suggests to you. Actually, I haven't done one of those builds in a long time where I do something based off a color palette generator. Maybe I'll do that sometime soon. I'm gonna write that down. Sadie Abby asks, which build are you most proud of, or which ones stand out to you in particular? And immediately upon reading this question, I thought of my school bus conversion build, where I basically built the outside of a school bus and then turned the inside into a tiny house. I love schoolies. I think they are such a fun, actual, like real life build. And so I tried to create that in The Sims, and I'm just really proud of that one. out. I'll link it down below. Close4824 says, what got you interested in creating YouTube videos, and did you ever think you'd be doing this as a career or hobby? This channel actually started where I would post MapleStory music videos I made. So it definitely was like a fun hobby thing, and then it slowly transitioned into me posting about The Sims back when The Sims 3 was the primary game that was out. It was the current game, and it was just sort of a place for me to shout into the void about how excited I was about upcoming content and my Sims and what I was doing with them at the time. So I would make recaps of the live streams talking about upcoming expansion packs and all of that sort of stuff. I got interested in doing that just because I didn't really have anyone in my immediate life, in my real life, that had the same level of interest in The Sims as I did. So it was a nice way to sort of start finding a community of people that were just as invested in this series as I was. I did not think I would ever be doing it as a career. As like time progressed and I realized that some people did do that, I obviously wished someday I would be able to, but I didn't really think it was possible. So it's really wild to me that now we're here at 250K. I just thank you so much. So working on the floor plan a little bit now, I changed my mind on how I wanted to work downstairs. It was originally more closed off, but I didn't feel like that really made sense for the style of this build. I wanted more of an open concept feel to the living area. So the kitchen, dining, and living room are all in this one large room, which I think worked out perfectly. And I am using one of my favorite kitchen sets from Home Chef Hustle. I know this build has a lot of the color schemes I often use in my builds, but I thought that that was kind of appropriate as a celebration build, as it's one of my favorite color schemes, and it, like I said, has been a while since I did a modern build. I just thought combining those two ideas together to celebrate this milestone made a lot of sense, and I just wanted to create something fun for me. So I hope you enjoy it. Not every room is all brown and black, but a lot of this house does bring in those color schemes, and I really like how it looks. Daria517 asks, how old are you now and how long have you been playing The Sims, and were you always primarily a builder? I am 30 years old, and I've been playing The Sims since, I want to say like 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. So I started with The Sims 2 on console, The Sims 2 Pets on console specifically. And I was not always primarily a builder, although I always did build my own houses for my Sims to play in. I didn't like playing in pre-built houses. I wanted to create that space. I was not good at it, but I did always build them. But I primarily liked to do gameplay and like live out the storylines of my Sims. Astrologia4968 says, what's your favorite world to build in and what's your favorite pack? My favorite world to build in is probably Brindleton Bay because it's based on New England, which is where I'm from. So it feels very familiar and like home to me. So I really like building there. As far as my favorite pack, that changes all the time. So I'm honestly not sure, but it's usually a combination over the last couple of years between seasons and growing together. So probably one of those two. I had to add the cutting boards to the kitchen, and then we are moving on to the living space where I chose this fluffy rug from the Book Nook kit, and I love these couches from Desert Luxe. They had to be in here. They were exactly what I was looking for. One thing I do want to mention in here is later on I will be adding pillows to the couches and bringing in a little bit of blue, which I thought looked really, really nice. It's inspired by the primary bedroom. Once I get to that and find out that I'm going to be using a lot of dark blue in there, I decided to bring it to the rest of the house as well. And it works perfectly with the painting I just placed above the bookcase that's behind the couch, which is a gorgeous painting from Get Famous. And that bookcase is not one I ever use either, and that's from City Living. But I thought it was beautiful in this space. I was very excited to use a combination of items I use all the time and some that I don't use as often to achieve this like super ultra modern house. And it's just always really fun to create spaces using items that are not as frequently used, because of course I have my favorite items, but then there's ones I really like. It's just they're harder to use. So I was just very excited about that bookcase for some reason. But right now I am changing the exterior a little bit to accommodate this like closed in porch area. It just wasn't looking right, and so I wanted to come back out here and fix that. I also end up changing the front window here and the wall texture. It happens a couple of different times. It wasn't this before, then it changed to this one, and then all of a sudden it's going to pop to an orange tone. And the reason I did that is because the inside has so much orange wood in it that I thought it looked so nice on the outside, and it was just something I don't do as often with that bright of an orange. I know it's not on screen yet, but it will be soon. and you will have seen it in the thumbnail and like the little shot in the beginning of the video when I fly into the build. And I think it looks so pretty. It really pops against the bright blue sky and the ocean behind this area. So I was really happy that I did that once I finally do. And then I also realized I had space upstairs to actually add one more bedroom up here. So doing that now, and I'm also going to split up one of the bigger rooms upstairs into two. So this goes from being like a 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom house. And there I was painting the outside, and then we're back inside to continue decorating the living room. But on to our next question, which is from Intry8116, which is, please tell me your favorite goofy nicknames for your fur babies, and pics too, please. I will try to remember to add pics in editing, but if you didn't know, I do have 4 pets. I have a cat, a dog, and 2 bunnies. My cat is 1.5 years old. Her name is Lulu or Louise, and she is a one-eyed gray cat. We think she might be a Nebelong, which is a breed of like long-haired gray cats. She pretty much fits the qualifications, but we're not sure. She was found as a stray outside and had a really severe infection, hence why she only has one eye. But as for goofy nicknames for her, I mostly call her Lulu or Louise, to be honest, but I also call her Meow Meow Kitty Girl. So, and Trash Cat, because she's obsessed with trash. So, yeah, Trash Cat. And Cyclops. Okay, I guess I do have a lot. My dog's name is Rudy. He's a rescue. He is a staffy mix with a bunch of other things. We call him Roo, Roo-Magoo, Roo-Magoo-Maroo, and probably more than I'm not thinking of right now. Oh, when he curls into a ball, we call him Cinnarol. I have 2 bunnies as well. My oldest bunny, her name is Wednesday, after Wednesday Addams. She's 8 years old. She's a little old lady. She's also disabled, and I love her so very much. I mostly call her Princess or Wenday instead of Wednesday. Wenday. So that's her. And then her brother Pugsley, he is about to be 4 years old next month. I don't usually call him Pugsley. I usually just call him Pug. But we also call him Cardboard because he is the color of cardboard, and he's not very smart. We love him very much, but cardboard fits him very well. And I also call him Loaf of Bread because he's just a little loaf of bread. So hopefully those nicknames and pictures were good for you to see. Those are my 4 fur babies. And this is the garage in this house. I decided in here to keep it pretty simple. I do have some workout equipment in here and a woodworking table. There's also a sink in here, and you could add a washer and dryer if you want to play with laundry. I didn't add it in this build, but that would be a perfect spot to include that. And then we are working on the entryway. I knew I wanted to have a space to hang up coats and stuff when you first walked in, so I used this coat piece from Seasons and kind of merged it into the wall. It had the same wood tone that I was using throughout the rest of the build, so I thought it looked really nice. And then over on this wall, I wanted to make sure there was like a cozy chair and a console table with a mirror. And I do change which table is here, and I end up using a couple of these base game cabinets instead because they were the correct size for this massive mirror from Lovestruck, which I never use. So I thought it would be a nice addition here. And then I'm just going to be cluttering up that space, getting a place to store and choose an umbrella by the front door. That's an item that I know a lot of people forget to include, and I sometimes do, but I love adding. I feel like it just adds so much realism. It's a nice clutter item, but it's also functional, so your Sims can actually choose which umbrella they want to use when it is raining outside if you have the Sims 4 Seasons. And then I am decorating under the staircase. I used a lot of these modular pieces from Dream Home Decorator to create a under the stairs storage area. I fill it with all sorts of clutter, and I changed the colors of it a few different times. In the end, it ends up being that bright orangey color wood on the outside and then a black on the inside. I think it looks really nice, and I will mention at some point during this, I change all of them to that and I forget 2 of the cubes. So if you notice that, I do fix it before I upload this to the gallery and before I take the screenshot, so it will be fixed, but it is something silly that I didn't notice while I was building. The next question is from Lindsay M4769, and they asked, how do you get your inspiration for builds and storytelling? And the honest answer is a lot of times the comments. I get a lot of suggestions on things to build from what y'all leave in the comments. I also just, as ideas come in, sometimes they spark other ideas in my head where I'll combine suggestions. Maybe I'll see something on TV or I'll drive by a house in real life that I think is really beautiful, and I kind of make lists of all of these ideas and I refer back to them when I'm feeling like building. If I don't have something in that moment that I'm like, oh, I need to build this now, I will go and look at my list and see what sounds fun. And that's how I get most of my ideas. A lot of the times it's not even like a picture of a house or driving by a house, it's Legos or a 3D model, a cross stitch. Like there's a bunch of different things. I all the time see something cute and I'm like, I would like to recreate that or something similar to that in that aesthetic, in that vibe in The Sims. And yeah, I don't know. This is a very long-winded answer. I feel like there's just so many different ways that I get my inspiration, but a lot of it is getting suggestions from the community. NicroB144 asks, what do you enjoy doing in your free time when you're not playing The Sims? And what's your favorite TV series or book or movie? To be honest, I don't have a lot of free time these days, but I do really enjoy spending time with my pets or watching movies or TV shows with my partner. So probably that. When it comes to favorite TV series, books, and movies, my favorite TV series is by far Doctor Who. My favorite movie of all time is the original Beetlejuice, and I'm not sure what my favorite book would be. I had a goal to get really back into reading this year, and I started off strong in the first 2 months with reading quite a few books, but then I haven't read anything since like March. So I don't think I have a favorite book right now, but if you have any suggestions based on my interest in movies and television, you can leave those in the comments. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Isa Care asks, if you didn't do Sims content, what other games would you stream? And similar question, would you ever create a second channel for the other games that you play? So if I wasn't creating Sims content, it would probably be Animal Crossing or maybe Disney Dreamlight Valley. Honestly, I really want to make a Neopets video because I am so into Neopets. Like I'm hooked again. I have my original account that I created as a child and I do play every single day. So probably Neopets, honestly, at this point. Would I ever create a second channel for the games that I play that are not The Sims? So I actually have a few other channels. I tried to create an Animal Crossing channel back when we got the last update that came out for Animal Crossing New Horizons. So that exists. It's called Gryphi Crossing. I abandoned it at some point and never kept up with it. But I also have another channel called Just Tanya. It's mostly vlogs, but I do want to put some other content on there as well. And I would consider actually doing that idea of a Neopets video on there. So I will link my vlog channel down below if you'd like to follow there for future content that will be there. It's not only going to be vlogs, but for the foreseeable future it is because I'm planning to do Vlogmas this December. So there should be daily vlogs up on that channel. Blazy to Kitten Demon 1 asks, how are you able to make such amazing floor plans? First off, thank you. Second, it's a mixture of practicing and also using real life examples to get a better understanding of how floor plans make sense. I don't do that as much anymore because I've just built so many houses, but it's a lot of trial and error and I do cut out a lot of footage of me trying to figure out floor plans. So it doesn't come together as easily as it may look, but I would suggest checking out some real life floor plans. You can just search them up on Google and get some inspiration from those. Extreme427 asks, what do you use to record your videos? I record most of my videos using NVIDIA GeForce Experience, which is built on my PC because of my graphics card, but I do record some of them using OBS. The next question is from the Lil Brim, and they ask, how many hours do you have logged and what is your favorite Squishmallow? So I just opened the game or opened the EA app to see because I didn't know how many hours I have logged, and I don't know if this is an embarrassing amount of a high amount or a low amount because I don't know what anyone else's is, but I have 12,261 hours and 51 minutes logged in The Sims 4. And my favorite Squishmallow is Emily the bat. Allison Miller 9151 asks, is this your full-time job and how did you get into making videos? It is my full-time job. It has been for a couple of years now, not the entire time, but the last, I think, 3 years. And I had mentioned earlier, it was just sort of a way to try to get out the excitement of my love for this game since I didn't have anyone in real life to talk to about it. But back to the build for a minute now. I am working on the bedrooms and this is a teen bedroom for a sim who is really into art. So obviously I'm using some items from the artist studio kit. So there's the new easel in here, a lot of the paintings up on the wall and lots of paintbrushes and stuff as well. And then I'm figuring out how I want to decorate the other rooms as I really wasn't sure what family was really going to live here. I just wanted to have fun with the colors and the design of the space. Sometimes I build things with like specific Sims in mind and that really carries the build, and other times it's more designs focused, and that's definitely what I was doing today. But this ends up being a bedroom here for a teen who's really into sports. They have a lot of basketball and like weightlifting, and there's some jerseys on the wall. I used a bunch of posters from a variety of packs. I also got to use this decal from Parenthood that I almost never use of the basketball hoop with the ball that's on fire, and I have some of those ribbons on the wall, and of course the weights. That is an item that is from Lovestruck that I'm still so excited to have. I really wish it was functional and our Sims could just like lift free weights like that. That would be so nice, but it is still a nice clutter item to include. So that is what this room is going to be, and I believe we have 1 or 2 more bedrooms after this. Do we just have the nursery left, or did I already decorate the other kids' room? Regardless, there's 5 bedrooms, and this is mostly a build where I just wanted to pop in from time to time to talk about what was going on, but mostly just answer questions since it is sort of a celebration build. And let me know if you like this style of video more or less when I'm talking less about the build and I'm talking more about just random things. I think I'm always going to talk about the build to some extent, but it's been interesting on this one, kind of breaking it up with a Q&A as well to celebrate 250K. But yeah, it looks like I didn't decorate this kid's room yet. It's kind of like a tween room, sort of. I wanted it to feel sort of transitional between a kid and a teen. It's very vibrant, even though it has some black walls and black curtains and the bed frame and all of that. But the actual blanket and the rug in here, they're all very vibrant. And I had a lot of fun with this color scheme. I thought it was a little bit different. I tried to make the room a little bit messy with some clothes on the floor. There's also a desk in here for them to do some schoolwork at. There's also toys. It's very much a transitional space. I hope that comes across. And then the final bedroom is going to be right next to this, and it's for an infant. So I set that up as a nursery, and I used the black and orange swatch of the crib because I don't think I've ever used it, and I thought that this would be a fun house to experiment with that with. So you will see that, but we're going to get back to our questions. I have a few left I want to answer. So next up, Laura asks, what are the first exciting memories you have of your channel? For example, getting your first comment, hitting 100 subs, seeing someone else recommend your channel for the first time, etc. So unfortunately, a lot of the really early on stuff I don't really remember because this channel is actually super old, way before I ever uploaded anything that you've seen. I created it towards the end of high school and just like uploaded random things for my friends to see. And so just through friends following me on here and sharing it around, it got a couple hundred. And then I came back to it around 300. That's when I started actually posting Sims content and stuff. So I don't remember those really early moments, but I do remember hitting 500 and hitting 1,000. And those felt like such wild numbers to me. And it was really special. I made a thank you 500 video and a thank you 1,000 video. And it was just a really special time. Not that it isn't anymore. It's just kind of wild looking back on. And I'm really glad that I have those memories. I thought I had more questions left, but a lot of these are just comments being like, thank you for posting or congratulations, which I really, really appreciate. Thank you all. And then the last one is very similar to a question we had before, which is from Sin Neighbor. And they said, what's your way to gain inspiration and find new floor plans? I'm going to say Google is your friend. Pinterest is your friend. You just want to look around and get inspiration that way. It's going to be really helpful to get some examples to work off of. And then over time, you're going to figure out how to do all of that sort of stuff on your own. And I'd recommend for floor plans, place down the stairs first. That's going to help you so much if you have more than one floor. So that's all the questions I had. I really hope you enjoyed the answers. Thank you for anyone that submitted a question. It was fun to go through those. It's been a long time since I did a Q&A. I think the last time was at 100K or maybe at 75. I'm not entirely sure, but 250 felt like such a huge deal and I wanted to do something to celebrate. So I hope you've been enjoying the build and my answers to these questions. And we are decorating an upstairs balcony now. I end up having a couple of lounge chairs out here as well as a place to play some chess, and we're about to get into the part of the build where I bounce all around trying to add more value to this lot because we were nowhere near 250K and I wanted this to be as close to 250K as possible. And I was actually very excited that I got it to be exactly 250,000 simoleons. So just placing some loungers in the pool, and we're going to decorate this area. There ends up being an outdoor kitchen. I'm changing the fencing now purely because it's more expensive. It's also more modern, and I'm going to be adding some lights to it that make it look like a custom fence, which was just seeing the light as I pulled it out and being like, oh, this would look really cool in these fence pieces. So you'll see me do that here shortly. I also decided to build a half wall around the hot tub. Your Sims can still get into that. It just allowed me to make it more expensive and make it look more built in. And then this is that outdoor kitchen using the kitchen set from Oh goodness, is it Perfect Patio? I want to say it's Perfect Patio. So I have the grill from that and some of the decorations. And then this is the light that I grabbed. And then I realized it would look really cool if I just kind of put it throughout the fence as a custom fence. And I think it looks awesome. And then it lights up the area quite a bit at night. I also ended up using quite a few sculptures on this lot because they're expensive and they fit the aesthetic pretty well. I don't ever use sculptures like this in my build. So I have this round one here. There ends up being a really tall one out front. I have some that are inside as well, and grabbing some of these beautiful large plants to sort of frame out the space. Of course, getting some chairs to be at the bar and trash cans and some more landscaping. I did use, I think, some debug on this lot for landscaping. That's free, which is not really what I want, but I did want the palm trees that matched the area, and those are only in the Show Live Edit Objects menu, unfortunately. But we're back at the garage for a moment here, so I could change out the treadmill for a more expensive one and add a weight machine in there. I also end up adding an aqua zip in the driveway. That is the like jet ski type item that is in the game. I thought that that would be a fun thing for these Sims to own, especially because they're right on the water. So I do park that in the driveway. We're adding some lights upstairs. I got this giant pillar from Spa Day as just like a structural piece on the side of the house. I felt like it helped so that area didn't look so flat, but it also is a very expensive item, so it helped the budget. And here is that aqua zip I had mentioned. There's going to be a bike out front as well. That's not very expensive. I just thought it looked nice. And then I'm trying to think what else other than the landscaping, because there's quite a few things. Oh, there's going to be a statue I had inside that I don't think I've ever used. I end up putting it up on a pedestal, or maybe I already did it. I think it's towards the end though. It's a Sim statue. It's like a llama with a freezer bunny riding it. So you'll see that here in a moment. I think it actually ends up looking really cool. I scale it down and put it up on a pedestal. And in the kitchen, there was some more appliances. And this is where that statue is going to be. I think it's a fun addition. I was actually really happy with this. And I think it's like 15,000 simoleons or something like that. So it really, really added to that budget. But anyway, that is pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again for 250,000 subscribers. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Also, a massive thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself to get some early access content, make sure you click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Enjoy the screenshots, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.